uh, checking out Bandai America. We're here with sir. Please, if you.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Let's go.
It's been good. I'm glad to be back on it. It's been a short while, but it hasn't been.
Yeah, it's been a couple months.
Yeah.
So, from what I understand, you guys have a new line of 4 3/4 Gundams,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Gundam is it's been around since 1979.
Yeah.
Talking about 43 years. The popularity is still going strong. I mean, I have friends who build the model kits, and she shows me all the different levels that it is, and it's just like it's insane how popular this one little anime cartoon is.
Well, it's funny. I think it really is a testament to the actual franchise itself, right? Because
Right.
There's tons of anime that's already out there, right?
Yeah.
But it really is the story behind it that keeps it going, right? And to your fans that are out there that might not be 100% familiar with Gundam, right? What makes it cool is that they're not robots, right? Like not underscore capitalized exclamation.
Right. Yeah.
Like they're and I tell folks who aren't super familiar with it, like think of them as fighter jets with arms and legs, right? Because that's what they are, right? They're vehicles, which means that because they're not robots and they don't have their own personality, it really is about the pilots and the relationship with each other. And these kids who are thrown into this war and all the stuff that gets into it, like it's some pretty deep stuff if you actually look at it. And I think it's that level of depth and I'll be so bold as to say sophistication in storytelling that has kept this franchise going across multiple iterations, multiple timelines and universes. I think there's like 8 of them continuity sort of out there that really is a testament to how enduring this brand is.
Yeah, it's really is insane. Just like you said, when I try and explain to people, I kind of usually have to say, "You ever see Pacific Rim?" They're like, "Yeah." I go, "That's what we're talking about in a more simpler term."
Right, but I think and I love Pacific Rim because in a prior life I was at Warner Brothers working on the film, right? And the cool thing about Pacific Rim is it got the concept right of like you're piloting this thing and you're going right. But what I think what Gundam does is it really is about lessons, right? It's about like taking kids who want to be more and do more, and they're the unwilling heroes as opposed to people who are stepping up to like defeat the evil of the universe. Like these are kids, right?
Yeah.
These are 13 and 14-year-old kids who are put in this impossible environment, right? And that sort of launches this saga that extends into so many years and products. And
it's crazy. I mean, I saw this one. It's just like it was an entire backstory of one of the main villains, and it was just like I think it was a movie, and it was just like this is it's not just a cartoon. This is a drama that's unfolding with us that just happens to be animated.
It happens to be animated. Yeah, I think you're talking about like Char's Revenge or something like that, right? It takes place after the first saga with Amuro, and when it comes back. Yeah, like how many anime out there have a longer form chunk content to go into story and character development? Not a whole lot, right? Something special.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's just like you said, it's amazing how it's endured for so long. 43 years, and it's just like still, it's going insane.
Well, there's a lot more. I mean, there's a lot more coming, right? Like there's going to be a full release coming in about 2 or 3 years, right? Like that's going to be the next big thing. And Gundam isn't going to be just for the collector anymore. Like it's going to be everywhere. You're going to see, billboards and bus shelters and TV commercials. Like you're not gonna be able to get away from it.
No, I'm already starting to see it like mixed in. At least the model kits are starting to hit. They've been in Target for the past year, and I remember walking through, just like action figures, this, that, and I'm like, wait a minute, that was a Gundam right there. That was a Gundam kit, and I was just like, no, I don't have to go to a specialty store anymore. So that was
it's a big change. It's a systemic change in how people are really expressing their fandom, right?
Right.
And it's funny because whether it's a model kit or some of the stuff that I'm going to show you, or even an action figure, it really is more, I like to say it's like a mirror, right? It says more about you,
Yeah.
of what you choose to have and display, than the actual property itself.
Oh
right?
yeah, definitely. Totally agree. It's just like some of the things these people do with the Gundams to put their own special touch on it.
Yeah.
Building full dioramas and battle sequences, and not just putting it on the shelf, but just going insane, adding battle damage. It's just
It's about sharing that content, right?
Yeah.
One thing is to say, hey, did you see the movie? Wow, it was really cool.
Right.
It's another thing to spend actual time putting something together and then showing people, here's what I did. What did you do with yours, right? That's a different level of engagement that I think, maybe with the exception of Lego, maybe you'll have that level of community involvement.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For an actual IP, not just every IP under the sun,
Right.
but something that's unique to Bandai, right? Which really did kind of start the whole toys to TV, right? Because back in '78, when this thing started with Clover, right? It was the show that launched the toy, that launched the toy, that launched the show, and it became this feedback loop, right? That has been spiraling for the last 40 some odd years until what we have today.
Right. Yeah, fully agree with you on that. It's totally different here with the Gundams, opposed to like Gundams. You didn't need. I mean, obviously there was the anime out there, but you don't necessarily need the anime to sell it. It's just one of these things. It's not like some of the other products that are out there. Like Masters or the Turtles. You need the product to sell the show, and this just kind of sells itself. It's amazing.
Yes. As a marketer, I could be in much worse positions.
So, why don't you show me what you got?
Okay, so we have two lines, right, which are like super cool. So I'm going to show you the first line. So this is we call it our Luminous collection, right? And I'm going to reach on and off camera, so excuse me. Here is to scale, right? So I'm going to try to bring it in here, right? So this is the RX-78, and I'm trying to see if you can see the level of detail, right?
I can.
Like pretty good, right?
That is, yeah.
In of itself, right? Like here's my hand, and I'm about like 5'6" with boots on, right? So you can get an idea, like overall scale. But what's really cool about this thing, hence the name Luminous, if I can do this without like tearing this guy apart, is inside the battle chassis. If you can see here, there's an LED light, right?
Oh wow, that's cool.
LED. I mean, I'm in the studio here, so the lights are really bright. So unfortunately, I'd have to like kill all the lights. So what happens is when this light turns on, right, and then you put this bad boy together, the exhaust chest plates as well as the eyes light up.
Oh, nice.
Like a beacon, right? Like really bright, and that's not all because there is the RX-78. There's going to be two versions, right? There's one version that has like the beam saber, right?
Okay.
There's another version that has the plasma cannon, right?
Okay.
And then you're going to have the Zaku, right? So
nice.
When you check out the Zaku, his mono eye glows bright red.
Right? Oh, wow.
And so when you put the batteries in there, like it'll last for a couple days before it starts, right? And here's like the packaging for like the Char Zaku, right?
Oh, wow.
So this will give you an idea what this thing's going to look like.
That is cool. Oh, good price point.
Yeah.
That's a great price point.
Yeah. It's like $10. I mean, talk about a stocking stuffer, right? Like, and
definitely
want to make sure that, we're being honest with all the fans. Like, these aren't Gunpla kits, right? Like, its own thing. We're not trying to compete with that. It really is. If you look at these things and why we're even doing it in the first place is it's another expression of your fandom, right?
Yeah,
like if you're be building a Gunpla and it's like perfect grade and you're spending $40 on it and it's going to take you like 3 weeks to put together, right? You're still going to want to buy this one. Right, because it does something that's just a little bit different. It's already pretty much kind of pre-assembled already. I mean, if you want to, like the leg will come off and you kind of put it back on again, right? And there is some articulation, right? And the accessories come out there, but it's a pretty nifty little thing. And again, just like the level of detail for
It's
10
amazing.
bucks, like you
It's
kind of have to, just for like moral reasons, right? Like if you're a fan, this is the one you want, right? So
oh, definitely, because I mean, I love that light up because it's like when they start up the Gundam, it just everything comes on when they start it up. It's just like it's cool.
Yeah, and it comes with like 2 watch batteries, right?
Okay.
Or hearing aid batteries you can buy at like the drugstore, right? So there's going to be 2 versions of the RX-78, and then there's going to be the green Zaku version, right?
All right.
This one, and then you're going to have the red Char Zaku version, which is going to be that one, right? And the packaging looks nice and glossy and fantastic, and they're going to be available on Amazon and Hobby Lobby, like everywhere, right? So we're really so that's our Luminous collection, right? And then next up, right, which is kind of one of my favorites, is this new line, right? We're calling the Infinity Collection.
Okay.
Now, a little backstory on the Infinity Collection, right? So there's a mobile game out there right now, right? And it is the Gundam Warfare Gunpla Battle, right? Or am I getting it different, right? But basically, it's kind of a meta game in the sense that you're not in the world, right? But it's about building your own Gundam frame and saying, I want the maneuverability of the Wing Gundam, but the agility and strength of the Artemis battle frame. And I want the firepower and the strength of the Barbatos frame from Iron-Blooded Orphans, right? And in the game, right, you can take the arm and the leg and make your own custom thing. And you play against people, right? So what we did is we took the most iconic Gundam, right, from each of the IP, from the 1978 version all the way to like the Iron-Blooded Orphans that's on Netflix right now. And if you haven't watched it, it's fantastic, right? And so we've put them together for this line, right? So this is the Gundam Infinity line, right? So again, these guys are about 4.5 inches high, right? They got like 13 points of articulation. So there's, quite a bit you can do. This one has like the beam saber and it has like the shield, and the legs move. And even like the level of detail, like
it's really nice.
Still pretty good, right?
Definitely.
And what's cool about these things is that each of these parts, just like the mobile game, fits with all the other parts.
Oh wow!
Right?
Mix and match as you want. So.
Yeah. So over here, I'm gonna pull over on this side. I use my free hand. This is the red Astray version, and this is from the manga, right? So it's not just from like the movie, it's not just from like the show, right? This is from like the hardcore fans. So this is the red Astray, right? And it's consistent, right? Because in the manga, there's only 5 of these prototypes made, right? In sort of the saga of how it is, right? And so you have this really fantastic level of detail, right? And so his head, legs, torso will fit on each other's body, right? Which is what the game is. Like, I want his leg on his body because that's how I sort of play things, right? So we have the Astray here from the manga. We have the RX-78 classic version because you have to, right? From the we have the Wing Gundam, right? From like the 90s, right?
Oh, wow.
This is one that most US fans kind of grew up with and know, right? So this is like Wing Gundam, right?
Yep.
Pretty cool. And it has like the wings here and like the wings, like, right? Like you can do a lot with them, right? This one has like, I think like 16 points of articulation because like the wings count as, and they like go up and down, right? The level of detail and their weapons and all these cool things like that. Then we have, reaching over here, we're going to have the Artemis battle frame. And the Artemis frame, this is taken directly from the mobile game, right? So if you play the mobile game to its logical conclusion, one of the perks you'll get is you get the Artemis version, right? So it has like the giant railgun, right? That can like shoot down a satellite, right? So very true to the IP and lots of points of articulation. And again, every part fits every other part, right? And then
that's cool.
Yeah, my personal favorite, because I'm just an Iron-Blooded Orphans fan, right? This is the Barbatos battle frame, right?
Oh, nice.
And so just a level of detail. And to show you, right, I'm going to step off screen here. So this is my own personal, okay, so no, this is actual Gunpla, right? Like this is the kit that I put together that has like all the crazy points, particularly this thing took me like 5 days to put together, right? So again, so real Gunpla, right? The level of detail in the face, right? Shouldn't shock anybody. If I put it right next to this version,
That is still a nice level of detail
pretty
right
damn
there.
cool, right?
It's
Like here and then here, right?
it's
Like
damn close. It's
right. So if you're a Gunpla collector, right, and you build a Barbatos frame, you're going to display it. There's no reason you wouldn't want this one too,
right.
right?
Totally agree,
They
yeah.
don't compete against each other. This is an incremental way to like. I'm looking at your action figure collection, right? You have like New Frontier from DC Comics, and I see all these other multiple versions. Multiple versions. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But and one more thing, as the late great Steve Jobs would say, in addition to each of these guys, right? They come with an additional accessory that enables you to put together the Zaku.
Oh, nice.
You can't buy this in stores. Like it is not available by itself, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So if you look at the packaging, and the packaging looks absolutely fantastic, right? So this is the packaging for the Artemis, right? So if you can tell, like right here, this one just happens to come with the Zaku head, right?
Oh, wow.
And then on the back of the package, right, you'll see like, oh, if you buy the Artemis, it'll come with the leg. If you buy the RX-72-8, it'll come with the other leg, right? And so, one, it looks really great, right?
Yeah, it really does.
$12.99, right?
That's insane price point.
More than like Mr. Light Up action over here, right? And if I give you scale, right? So this is the Luminous line, right?
Okay.
This is Infinity line, so just a little bit taller, but not by a whole lot, right? And they're pretty hefty feeling, right? They're not flimsy or light. Like they're like I'm moving and shaking this guy around pretty good. Ain't nothing happening to him, right? So 5 in all, right? When you collect all 5, you can build the Zaku.
Oh, wow.
And the Zaku, his parts fit all the other parts, right?
Oh.
If I want to, I can put Zaku's head on the Barbatos battle frame, or I can have his shoulder shield fit on the Wing Gundam, because that's how I would play the mobile game, right? So it really is a fantastic collaboration that we have with our sister company, B&EA Games, right? Bandai Namco. And even shows like the branding here, like, yeah, that's from the mobile game. Like that's the icon right there. So it's not like it's a coincidence. Like we meant to do this, right?
Right.
It really is a marriage of the mobile game, several IP ranging from the manga to the movie to the book to the show, right? Like it's thought out. It ain't an accident. Yeah, and so these guys are going to be coming to stores like in the next couple of weeks. So we're really, really excited about it.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That stuff looks great, Cisco. I'm really impressed. Can't believe the price point on both of them is just, it's amazing. It's just, it's
right. And because they're customizable, right? We wanted to make sure that we weren't missing the mark, right? Because when we were making this thing, we go through all these thought processes, right?
Right.
And our thought process is like, well, you know what? Like people are making their own model kits anyway. Like why would they want to just have that something already pre-assembled, right? Well, that's just the first part of it, right? Nobody builds, when I built this thing and I put hours into it, I didn't put it in my sock drawer.
Yeah.
Right? Like I put it on my desk so people can, what is that? Like, oh, this is really cool. Right? So it is the act of sharing, right? My affinity, my love for Gundam that transcends what the actual experience is. Yes, I built it, right? But then once I have this version of it, they're going to be right next to each other, right? And if I choose to swap out his arm with his leg over here, I can do that and I can share that with other people, right? So just even imagine what this will look like on Instagram, right? I'm having an idea right now. We'll be like, what's your combination, right? All the different permutations, iterations of all the combinations you can have
Mhm.
with all the different other ones. And as we have more of these guys coming into the line, because this is just the first wave, and I
Right.
can't give too much away because we're going to have more, right? But each of the more, you're going to be able to swap out their parts as well, right? So as you collect more, your options grow as well. And so when we are putting these ideas together, we are saying, you know what, like people are gonna, if you're a Gundam fan, or even not one, a Gundam fan, you're gonna want to, just because
Yeah.
you're gonna have different versions, right? And if you're not a Gundam fan, this is a great way to get introduced into the act of building and sharing, right? Because you actually can build these things, even though they kind of
Right.
come assembled, right? And then you collect them and then you share them and you can customize them, right? If you want to add scorch marks to this one, I can get a lighter right now. I can do the same thing here, right? And it really is about how am I going to express my fandom for this great property.
I think it's also you had the pack when you had the package up. I think it said 4+.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's this is a great, like you said, it's not just great to introduce other fans and stuff, but introduce your kids to what Gundam is, and I mean I could see them like, because my son he's got his friends and they exchange toys, so I could see them exchanging parts with something like this.
Yeah. I mean, and it really is, right? Because we're business people too, and part of our plan is, when the movie comes out in a couple years, we want to kind of start softening the road, right?
Right.
And so we want people to be familiar with like, what's this robot thing out there, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to start educating the public and saying like, no, they're not robots. It's about Gundam's about people.
Right.
That's what the story is, right?
Yeah.
Like tons of robot anime that's out there already, and some of it's pretty good, but
Yeah.
it's not Gundam, right?
No.
Because it's about the characters, it's about the interactions. Some of my favorite Gundam episodes have very few battle scenes. Like
Yeah,
if
I
you
know.
look at like the Iron-Blooded Orphans on Netflix, I would say maybe 15% of like the show
Yeah,
is
I saw it. I
in
agree with
space
you.
with the mobile suits fighting each other, right? Which means it holds its own, and the action and all the fighting and battles and stuff like that, it adds spice to an already good thing, right?
Right.
Like the spice by itself gets old, right? It's too much, right? Or like frosting on a cake, right? Like if it's just frosting, it gets too sweet and you get bored of it, right? But it's on top of cake with lots of different layers, right? And so it's this Gundam cake, if you will, right? That I think really stands a test of time. And we've only seen 1, 2, 3, like 6 different kinds of Gundam frames out there. And Lord knows there's a whole
A
lot more.
lot more. Yeah. That's incredible. I really think this product is going to do very well. I'm highly impressed. I mean, I've been into Gundam, the anime and stuff. I've never been daring enough to try one of the kits. I don't think I don't think I have the patience or the nerves to do something like that. But for someone like me who's just wanted some start having some Gundam in to go next to his other figures, I mean this is perfect for somebody like me. I mean I'm looking forward to this. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's a very exciting time for Bandai, just because the Gundam brand and Bandai are so closely knit together. I mean, they are one and the same, right?
Right.
It's and if you look at like the best franchises of all time, like they don't come close to the longevity that this thing has had, right?
Yep.
The fan base is that, and all the different kinds of storytelling that doesn't have to be in one timeline or continuity.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Some shows are their own universe, right? And they hold their own. And some others kind of time skip and they jump around, right? And it just depends on what your style is, right? Do you want something that's more action based? Do you want something that's really deep and character focused, right?
Yeah.
And it really is about choosing which Gundam is right for you. And everyone has their own favorite, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's an obscure one or whether it's like your mainstay, like that's the one that I grew up on, and so that's the one that everyone knows, right?
Totally agree with you. It's some great stuff, Cisco. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Well, thank you for showing me around. And these are going to hit stores in the next couple of weeks, you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Pretty much all the major retailers, or
all the major retailers, wherever online, it's Amazon, GameStop, like whoever you can pre-sell, you can start pre-selling these guys now. Like if you want to go to Amazon right now, you can pick and choose to your heart's content. And then it depends on which retailer sets when, right? So like, retailer XYZ, their fall toy set, right, will be on this week. And retailer 1, 2, 3, maybe a couple weeks later, right? Regionally, right? But basically, once we sort of get right into the fall, it'll be available pretty much everywhere. And then you'll see our ads online, and our Instagram will start blowing up with all Gundam stuff. So we're really excited to see what these guys are going to do.
Can't wait. Thank you so much, Cisco. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad you were able to spend some time and looking at some great stuff. More to come.
Great. Looking forward to it. So thank you again.
Okay.
All right.